And tonight, after the big dump of snow, comes the big cleanup, plus more snow on the way. The city of Toronto continues digging out with snow removal operations anticipated to begin tomorrow. Plus,
travel plans.
Why not?
I think cost and getting time off work.
We've been trying to avoid travel peak season, not just cost and also the crowds as well at the airports.
a week out from March break and many parents are staying put. While travel isn't at pre-pandemic levels, it's expected to jump, and at least one major Ontario airport says it's ready. Just ahead of International Women's Day, much needed support is on the way for women experiencing homelessness, with some help from a Canadian music icon.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Hello, thanks for being with us. After the big dump of snow, it was the big melt today as temperatures climbed above zero. More than 30 centimeters hit some parts of the GTA Friday. The city declared what it calls a major snowstorm condition, clearing the way for snow removal operations. Parking on roads designated as snow routes is prohibited. Most of those are in the downtown core. They'll be marked with bright orange signs. Heads up for drivers, if you're caught parked on one of those snow routes, you could face a fine up to $200. The city anticipates snow removal operations to begin tomorrow. It's opened 4 designated snow dump sites. And we're bringing in Sophia now. 4 designated sites. We had a ton of snow and more on the way. Is that so?
Yeah, unfortunately, the bearer of bad news. This was really heavy, wet snow, right, Shannon?
Yeah.
Made snow removal very difficult. And then, to complicate matters more, I'm about to add another wrench into the cleanup plans. We had the melt on today with temperatures about 4 or 5 degrees above seasonal, right? Kids were out playing in just their sweaters in the snow today. But temperatures have been rapidly dropping. So what we are going to have is a lot of freezing of all that wet, slushy, heavy snow. And maybe the potential of some slippery, hazardous commutes for your Monday morning to school and to work, with temperatures that are -2 feeling closer to -6 right around the GTA. And then Monday afternoon, we await the next system, another Colorado low. This time, though, much lesser in intensity, but it is going to add to the snowpack for many of you, especially to the south and to the west of the city. Few impulses early in the day. Light snow showers is the name of the game. Then the dinner hour commute looks a little something like this. Rain to the southwest and a lot of snow showers, wet snow. Kitchener, Waterloo, Sarnia, Hamilton could pick up that 3 to 5 centimeters, but it's only going to be just a coating of snow for those of you in the downtown core. But Shannon, whatever you pick up tomorrow will stick around. I'll talk about the cold that's here to stay in the long range.
Okay, winter has arrived in
Only
March.
15 days till spring, but who's counting?
That's right. We'll talk to you soon. A small aircraft that went missing in northern Ontario has now been found. Both people on board were killed. You're looking at some of the team that's been on the search for the plane since it first was reported missing Tuesday. The Cessna 208 was flying a route more than 300 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. The remote location and rugged terrain made things challenging. There are no details yet about the people who died. The Transportation Safety Board is now looking into what caused the crash. Ontario Liberals will pick their next leader in a new way. Party members decided this weekend to abandon the old method of a delegated convention, moving to a one-member, one-vote system. The party got together in Hamilton for its annual general meeting. Members also picking former cabinet minister Catherine McGarry as their new president. The race to replace former leader Stephen Del Duca has not officially started, and there's no date yet for the contest. Well, the countdown for March break is underway for kids and parents in Ontario, but with recent headaches at the airport, many are choosing to stay close to home. Lisa Shing has more now on if you plan and what you need to know if you're going to travel.
A week out from March break, and many Canadians are staying put.
I'm not going to go anywhere, just going to hang out.
No travel plans.
No travel plans.
Why not?
I think cost and getting time off work.
We've been trying to avoid travel peak season, not just cost and also the crowds as well at the airports.
Some already off are staying closer to home, hoping to dodge crowds and rising costs.
It's definitely easier. I mean, from Montreal to Billy Bishop is an hour flight, and you're downtown, and there's so much to do in the city.
Many want to avoid this, the possibility of inclement weather, seemingly endless delays, lost luggage, like what happened over the Christmas holidays, then again earlier this weekend in Toronto.
I literally haven't been able to speak to anyone in the airport to get any information.
While travel isn't at pre-pandemic levels, it will be up over the next few weeks. Airports across the country say they're ready. Toronto's Pearson International is placing a hard limit on the number of flights during peak times, but no planned changes at Vancouver and Calgary's airports.
Bring your patience with you because, not only is it March break, but it's still winter.
For flyers, a gentle reminder.
We just all have to understand that the world has just completely changed with just human resources. We expect it all to be ready and back to what it was before. It's not.
That isn't good enough for some passenger rights advocates who say airlines should take more responsibility.
The airlines are running too many flights too thinly. They don't have a resiliency plan. They don't have backup aircraft and crews like they should.
Under federal rules, passengers are entitled to rebookings or refunds for lengthy delays or cancellations, but not always food and hotels, an issue that likely won't get resolved before families take off over the next couple of weeks. Lisa Shane, CBC News, Toronto.
To some international news now. We are getting a rare look tonight at Canada's role in the war for Ukraine. With winter coming to an end, Ukrainian officials are worried about what could be a decisive spring. David Common spoke with Canadian troops as they helped Ukrainian forces prepare.
This is not Ukraine's front line, but it is intended to replicate it. In the comparative safety of neighboring Poland, Canadian soldiers are teaching Ukrainian troops first aid under fire, a skill they will certainly use. We can't show you the Ukrainians' faces, nor disclose exactly where we are in Poland. But all the lessons here are based on real-time experiences from Ukraine's battlefield.
As Russia rebuilds, the race is on to ensure that Ukraine gets the equipment, the training, that is necessary for it to be able to survive and be victorious as a nation.
Canada's top soldier only just left Ukraine, a secret weekend visit discussing the state of the battle, following the donation of 8 Canadian Leopard tanks, plus artillery guns and ammunition, all coming from Canada's own military stock.
I'm very concerned about our state of readiness.
Weapons needed by Ukraine, says General Eyre, but he says Canada needs replacements soon.
Where there is a will, there is a way. And so we've got to rapidly increase our timelines to be able to rearm ourselves to face the challenges of the future.
The defense minister has said new tanks will be purchased, but there's no indication of what kind or when, and it's regularly taken the federal government years to procure military equipment. Canadians may not be fighting in this war, but the conflict has made Canada's military much busier.
Much of this training will be put to use very quickly because many of these Ukrainian forces are actually headed back to the front lines, some in a matter of just days. David Common, CBC News in Western Poland.
After nearly 2 decades, the United Nations has finally come up with an agreement on how to protect the world's oceans. Susanna De Silva has the details and what happens next.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ship has reached the shore.
After decades of discussion, it took one more marathon negotiation, 36 hours, for that ship to come in.
Last night was a turning point, not just for the ocean, but actually for the future of our planet. And up until last night, there was no legal framework, there was no set of rules that would actually allow us to protect the incredible wildlife, the incredible biodiversity that lives out there.
A new set of rules aimed at protecting 30% of the world's lands and oceans by 2030. The seas, a crucial part, given they cover 2/3 of the world and provide the majority of the air we breathe. And while countries like Canada have made efforts to protect their own waters, advocates say that has not been enough.
The species don't care about jurisdictions and 200-mile limits. So we need to make sure that those same species that we're protecting in our waters are also protected outside.
Experts say eyes will be on Canada.
We're really expecting Canada to be one of the first countries to ratify this treaty. That's Canada's role now, is to lead the charge in making sure that countries everywhere put this treaty into law.
A new UN body will decide on proposals for areas that should be protected, a process that will still take years. Yasmin Skepins doesn't think people should wait. She cleans beaches daily and tries to inspire others to do the same.
You can already make a difference now, just by doing little things, like even picking up a piece of garbage every day makes a huge difference.
And she's hopeful this new deal will also make a difference. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Sinai Health hosted its first annual Raptors for Research event, raising critical funds for game-changing research.
Our first Raptors for Research. It is a terrific event, and the goal is to raise funds to conduct world-class research at our Lunenfeld Tannenbaum Research Institute.
More than 500 people of all skill levels taking part in the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. The money raised today will support the hospital's research in areas such as cancer, diabetes, and women's and infants' health. The top 2 performing teams and the top 2 fundraising teams will compete in the finals on Tuesday at the OVO Athletic Center. Meantime, Toronto's baseball team is set to honor one of their greatest, Blue Jays. He's known for his home runs and that bat flip, of course, Jose Bautista. His name will be added to the level of excellence this year, and he had this message for his fans.
Hey, Blue Jays fans. Just wanted to take a quick second to say how happy and excited I am and honored to be joining the level of excellence this summer, and I can't wait to come home to Toronto and celebrate with you guys. See you at Rogers Center.
Oh, that'll be a good one. He spent more than 9 seasons with the Jays after being traded to Toronto in 2008. He made 6 All-Star games and won 3 Silver Slugger Awards. The pregame ceremony will take place in August. This Wednesday marks International Women's Day, and a Canadian icon is lending her voice to women experiencing homelessness. Meg Roberts has more.
Women helping women is what these boxes are meant to represent. They're full of everyday items like feminine hygiene products and deodorant that might not be so easy for some to come by.
We are, providing them with all the essentials that they need.
These volunteers package 500 care bags, a service initiative started by award-winning singer and songwriter Deborah Cox. That hit record, Beautiful You Are, also the name of the campaign.
A moment like this to just do some good. It's really as simple as that, women helping women.
In Canada, 38% of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness are women, although some advocates say it's hard to tell the real numbers, as women are far more likely to experience hidden homelessness.
When women and gender diverse folks leave hidden homelessness is after exhausting all informal supports and resources before seeking formal services.
According to the Canadian Centre for Housing Rights, 68% of shelter beds were co-ed or dedicated to men, compared to just 13% dedicated to women.
The problem with co-ed is that women will avoid that because of violence that they have experienced probably previously.
The Women's National Housing Homelessness Network has filed a human rights claim, stating the lack of low-cost housing is a human rights violation, particularly against women, and says the government needs to step up its efforts.
Particularly around hidden homelessness.
Some advocacy groups like EVA's, an organization that helps youth experiencing or at risk of homelessness, say these events go a long way.
Events like this that take place where folks are invited to meet, learn about issues that are happening in your community and tangible ways in which you can support, I think is a great way for us to, actively address some of these issues that are going on in our communities.
This is one of many service initiatives Cox says she will be running this year. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. Construction is set to begin this week along a busy Toronto stretch, turning bike lanes into fully separated cycle tracks. As Clara Pasica shows us, it's welcome news for cyclists who say safety is an ongoing issue.
College Street cyclists were celebrating plans for new bike lanes.
Any improvement to bike lanes is, in my view, it's great.
David Shellnut, a lawyer who represents injured cyclists, says existing painted bike lanes don't offer enough protection.
We have a number of dooring cases on College, especially on a day like today where the snow has pushed cars further towards the streetcar tracks. It creates a very narrow window and it's very dangerous.
University Rosedale councillor Diane Sachs says better bike lanes are a long time coming.
Drivers cannot be kept out of bike lanes without physical separation. And unless we can keep the drivers out, it's not safe for my grandchildren to be cycling in that lane, much less me. So we know we need physical separation, and the quicker we get it, the better.
Even if there is short-term pain along the way.
Anytime somebody's building something, it's a nuisance. It's loud, it's inconvenient, the trucks get in the way, but they're going to do the best they can to do it as quickly as they can.
Businesses that spoke to CBC say they're happy to keep cyclists, some of their core customers, safer.
We're right in the heart of Little Italy, so we do welcome, we have a lot of regulars, and obviously we want everyone to stay safe, and we do see a lot of cyclists here, and we obviously hope to see them come back.
I noticed that cars often park in painted on bike lanes and force bikes out into the street, and having dedicated lanes means perhaps having barriers and such. So that's very important, especially with all the delivery vehicles.
The city says it will be creating integrated streetcar and cycling platforms between Manning and Spadina Avenues. Those using the cycling lanes will still need to yield to passengers getting on and off the streetcars. The city says the project should be completed by June 2023, just in time for a very different cycling summer. Clara Pasica, CBC News.
A 9-year-old from Mississauga celebrating a huge victory. She shattered 3 Guinness World Records for her incredible talent with a hula hoop. The grade 4 student has spent hours practicing tricks, and the effort has certainly paid off. She was recently flown to the United Kingdom, where she performed at the Guinness World Records headquarters. Mamati Vinoth and her mom spoke to CBC about her special talent and her big dreams for the future.
I was really amazed and happy because I never knew I would reach a big level of actually going to United Kingdom to the headquarters to perform records. I was so happy and it was my really proud moment. One of the really hardest one was doing peacock scale and doing a hula hoop in the knees. It was really hard because I had to balance and take my whole leg on top of my head. So that was the really hardest trick. And I had to make sure I didn't drop the hoop while I was doing a hula hoop in the knees. I would practice like 2 hours a day. Normally I would finish my schoolwork first. And then after like at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock or something, I would start practicing for 2 hours.
Actually, she'll be feeling a little bit dizzy by the end of the day. But even though she wanted to achieve this, she will be practicing heavily daily for 2 hours.
I like hula hooping because it's a nice sport. And it gives you nice energy. I really want to, when I grow up, I really want to reach the Olympics in rhythmic gymnastics. The Olympic representing Canada.
At the young age, she wanted to achieve more. She wanted to go to next step. So we are really so proud of her.
How amazing is that? Yes, I know. We're going to have to watch for her in a few years. I bet you she'll be at the Olympics doing her thing in the rhythmic gymnastics.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I loved her attitude.
Yes.
My question is, do you think she'd give us lessons one day?
That would be fun. That would
Way
be
more
fun.
hand-eye coordinated than I will ever be. I think you'd fare a pretty good shot, though. Good luck to her, and how wonderful to share that story with everybody. Lots of inside time over the next 24 hours to practice all that hula hooping. We are down to below seasonal conditions for the long range. It was a calmer end to the weekend, though, than how it began. All of February, we saw almost the same amount of snowfall that we saw in that big Friday showstopper with all that thunder snow. Now we're talking, as we mentioned earlier, about that temperature drop, rapidly freezing, all of that wet, slushy, heavy snow, while a Colorado low is waiting in the wings to pay us a visit on Monday. Much lesser intensity than the system on Friday, mostly an evening event, not as much to write home to mom about. Little bit of an impulse with some flurries throughout the afternoon hours, and then the main show is into the evening hours. It's mostly a story of wet snow to the south and to the west of the city, and a little bit of rain to the extreme southwest. A little bit more snow to come into the early hours of Tuesday morning. But whatever you get, folks, we'll stick around for the long haul because we're cold for the next little while. 3 to 5 centimeters, London, Sarnia over to Hamilton, and just a coating of snow for those of you in the GTA proper. 14 days, though, of below seasonal conditions. We're talking about 4 degrees below seasonal. Luckily, though, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will have plenty of sunshine and will be very calm. But I have my eyes, Shannon, on the potential of our next system going into next weekend. By the time we talk, there could be more snow on the ground, putting this total up to well above normal for this time of year.
Whoa. For the start of spring break with the kids. Hey.
Yeah, I know. We'll be cold and snowy right up until then.
Okay. We'll see you next weekend.
Sounds good. Have a great week.
Fans of The Office may want to check this out. You can now clock in at the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company.
We've had fans come through the experience in other cities. The one thing that we always notice is that as soon as they step through the doors of Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, they just can't believe how much it looks like the real set.
Yeah, it's a fully immersive experience based on the American comedy show. Fans can recreate their favorite scenes and experience what it's like to sell paper products. You can also find the costumes worn by characters, play games, and buy official merch. It runs until June at Yorkdale Mall. That is our show for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Before we go, we want to share some time-lapse footage captured by our colleague Mike Cole for us this evening of the moon. How gorgeous does that look? We'll see you again soon.